Yes. At the age of 12, Chloe had decided that she was transgender. By 13, she had came out to her parents and they allowed her to go on puberty blockers and testosterone. Just 2 years after that, at the age of 15, Chloe underwent a double mastectomy, which is when both breasts are surgically removed. Just 1 year after that, Chloe had deeply regretted her decision, but the damage had already been done and there was no going back. This is a position that hundreds of thousands of teens like Chloe are in today, thanks to the misinformation and lack of government regulation on the issues surrounding gender dysphoria in children. Today, I will persuade you guys on why the US should pass laws banning minors from transitioning. I'm credible to talk to you about this topic as I've read numerous sources by Brendan Abdel, Rachel Kaufman, and Ruben Resbach. The reason you should listen to me today is because you'll be more educated on the issues surrounding gender dysphoria in children. First, I will introduce the problem at hand. Next, I will introduce the potential causes. After that, I will propose my solution. And finally, we will review the opposition and I will prove why they are wrong. Now that you know I will be persuading you guys on why the US should pass laws banning minors from transitioning, let's jump into the problem at hand. The main problem is that too many young children are transitioning at an exemplary rate. In an article by Reuters, it states, in 2021, about 42,000 children and teens in the US were diagnosed with gender dysphoria, 3 times that of 2017. This statistic is alarming, as a 3 times increase in just 4 years should not be overlooked. This can be linked to the misdiagnosing by psychiatrists and therapists for their own profits. The problem that this misdiagnosing causes is when these children with gender dysphoria go to seek treatment, they are often given hormones. The problem that hormones cause is a laundry list of side effects. For example, children with gender dysphoria are at a higher chance of developing cardiovascular disease. Transgender boys are at a higher risk of developing prostate cancer, while transgender girls are at a higher risk of developing breast cancer. Transgenders as a whole are also at a higher risk of developing depression and even in severe cases, committing suicide. This is to be a concern as it's important for us to protect our youth as they are the future. Now that I've addressed the problem at hand, let's go over some potential causes for gender dysphoria in children. The main cause of gender dysphoria in children is that they are being taken advantage of for monetary gain. Children are naive and often easy to take advantage of thanks to their lack of cognitive development. In an article in a study conducted by the Hastings Center Report, a bioethics research institute, it states, children are generally unable to provide autonomous, independent, informed consent for medical treatments. And this is very much true, as how many of you have been in the doctor's office and you see a little kid screaming, kicking, and flailing around because they don't want to get a shot, but both their parents and the doctor knows that this is the right medical procedure for that child. This is exactly why children are not able to consent to medical treatments, and medical treatments involving gender dysphoria are no different. Looking in from a more scientific perspective, perhaps there is something physically causing children to have gender dysphoria. Right-wing talk show host Alex Jones once said, "The government is putting chemicals in the water, turning the frogs gay. And although this sounds absurd, it is actually scientifically true. Atrazine is a commonly used weed killer and pesticide in the US. Atrazine is also an endocrine disruptor. An endocrine disruptor is something that affects an animal's reproductive system. In a study conducted by National Geographic's Rachel Kaufman, it states, research has shown that atrazine can give male frogs female characteristics. For example, lowered sperm counts, laying eggs, and even choosing to mate with male frogs over female frogs. Because atrazine is a weed killer and a pesticide, that means it is in both the water supply and the food supply being consumed by humans. Since atrazine is an endocrine disruptor and has been proven to give male amphibians and frogs female characteristics, it could be doing the same in humans. Now that I have went over some potential causes for gender dysphoria in children, I will propose my solution. My solution for this issue would be for the US to pass laws banning gender dysphoria medical treatments. Under these laws, parents and children would be educated on the risk of gender dysphoria and the treatment surrounding it. Laws would be enforced that ban minors from receiving any sort of medical treatment, and you'd have to be 18 or older to consent to medical treatments for gender dysphoria. In addition, there will be a ban on all endocrine disrupting pesticides and weed killers in the United States, as these have been shown to cause female characteristics in animals. After reviewing the solution, so there are still some oppositions who may not be convinced. The opposition believes that people have the right to do what they want with their bodies, and if that means a child believes that they are transgender, they have the right to seek medical treatment, as they believe this will increase that child's general sense of well-being and lower depression and suicide rates among the transgender community. However, this is simply not true and is just misinformation. As I previously stated, there has been a 3 times increase in cases of gender dysphoria in children from 2017 to 2021. This 3 times increase in just 4 years is not normal, and telling children that it is normal for them to have gender dysphoria is only going to confuse them and put them in a position to get depression and suicidal thoughts. Now that I have reviewed the opposition and I have proved why they're wrong, let's conclude. First, I introduced the problem at hand, which is the massive influx in young children who are transitioning. Next, I went over some of the potential causes for this influx. After that, I proposed my solution. And finally, I reviewed the opposition and I proved why they were wrong. Remembering Chloe's story, it's important to remember that there are many children and teens out there like her. Please help educate others on the risk of gender dysphoria and the treatment surrounding it to prevent more stories like Chloe's.